Welcome, YouTube friends and family, to the long-anticipated edition of the Wellness Homesteader. I think this video will be 3 parts on 3 separate days. Probably not consecutive days because some of you may not be interested in the content, and I like to switch it up a little bit. So what is the new series? Well, you're going to have to stay tuned to find out. Well, y'all, today we are going to start our pantry inventory, a freezer inventory, and a wholesale clean out. So this is probably going to be a 3-part series. So y'all, I'm not going to produce a, 3-hour-long video because nobody will watch that. I wouldn't. And also, they probably will not be on consecutive video days just because not everyone has the hiccups as often as I do. Not everyone is going to be interested in that type of content, and I don't want to bore people to death. Plus, I want to do some fun things in between. Trying to stave off those hiccups. So, let's kind of take a step back from the series because I have something important I want to share. Y'all, I'm so bad about my P.O. box, and I apologize. And I think I've also created some confusion. So I got a beautiful gift from my friend across the pond. I didn't ask her, could I share? But y'all, look at this. It's a chicken brooch with the baby chicken. So that's Miss Winona. I'm not sure who this is, maybe Jolene. But this is going to be a constant this winter, so get used to seeing that. I also got the nicest note and the funniest card. It says, how do you restore your body back to factory settings? Is it kale? Please don't say it's kale because, as y'all know, I hate kale. So thank you, Miss Jane. It's been sitting in my P.O. box since the end of May. And when I went to retrieve with the little slip, they said, well, I'm sure it got sent back. And I'm like, would you check? It hadn't been sent back. So I apologize. I'm going to try to do better. Y'all, I'm probably going to draw a line in the sand and cut off my P.O. box because I primarily had it so that y'all were so kind to send my mom cards. I'm going to tell you a cute little story about that. And now that that is no longer a necessity, I don't ever expect y'all to send me anything. But if you want to send me something, and I'm not asking, guys, please, I'm not asking, but I also like to gift to YouTube channels I appreciate. So if you email me, and the email is below, it's sweethoneybath@gmail.com. I'd be happy to privately send you my address. So that brings me to the email confusion. If you all have gotten an email from me, it might have gone to your spam. And it says it's from Casey, K-A-C-I. Let me share where that came from. So when I worked, there were 3 Kyms, and it was extremely confusing. I would get a phone call from, and we were all in different departments. I would get a phone call from a very upset person. One was HR, one was marketing, and then of course I was in the nursing side of things. And they would be going on, and I'm like, I have no clue what you're talking about. So actually, one of my coworkers started calling me by my initials, KC, capital K, capital C, and that kind of evolved into Casey. So when you get an email from me, it will often say Casey instead of Sweet Honey Bath. It's me, guys, the girl with many names. My father, all of his side of the family, they all went by their middle names, as did my mother's. Her brother, who's still living, his first name is Othel. I didn't even know that until I was an adult. I'm like, that isn't a word, Mom. But there were some old-fashioned names or names that had family significance. My mom hated her real name so bad that she legally had it changed as an adult. And I thought it was a beautiful name. I'm not going to share it just to honor my mom. It's just a common name, but she hated it. My dad was William Verl. His brother was Joseph Merle. His other brother was Jesse Earl. And then he had a sister whose middle name was Pearl. And they went by middle names. So it was Verl, Earl, Merle, and Pearl. I think Grammy was kind of bored before she got done having 10 kids. But at any rate, so my dad would often call me by my middle name, which is Beth. Then my sister's youngest daughter, she named Beth. So it's all confusion. So call me whatever, y'all. But if you see Casey, it's me. All right, guys. Let me show you here kind of what I'm dealing with. I'm going to flip the camera around, so hang on. So yesterday, I harvested green beans, and I will probably have about this much again. It's not a ton, but it's a lot. They have not been, you know, strung or broken yet. I harvested some zucchini. This one, not real sure about. This may go to the chickens, but I do want to shred these up to freeze for zucchini bread for in the winter. And then, y'all, I'm not going to can tomatoes again today. I did day before yesterday. These are still, you know, they're not dead ripe. They're ripe enough, but there's some ripening that can still happen on them. And y'all, they have grass and such on them and dirt. But I'm going to have tomatoes to can. So this is a good time to start cleaning and organizing because I'm going to be adding to the shelf, and I just added 5 pints of canned yellow tomatoes. So how I like to preserve zucchini is to first hiccup. I hope you all laugh with me. And for those of you who are new, I can't help it. I have tried everything. I just have chronic hiccups where I'll hiccup once or twice, maybe won't hiccup for an hour, might hiccup for an hour. It's just crazy. So I do like, to freeze my zucchini because it's easy to make it into zucchini bread. And while you might be sick of zucchini at the end of summer, like now, I've eaten a ton, it will taste very good in the winter. And I want to do some experimenting with some sugar-free zucchini bread. I think it will come out fine with using Splenda, and I'm still harvesting and freeze drying Splenda. I have a previous video on that as well. So I'm going to cut this up. I'm going to run it through the shred blade. Y'all, I don't try to do the dings. If you're listening with headphones, I'm so sorry. So my food processor, it's not huge, but it has shredding blades. So I'm just going to cut off any, blemishes like this. Of course, the blossom end and the stem end. Cut them into dimensions that will fit and fill up. Try not to ding the bowl this time. Y'all, if you don't have big bowls, you need them. I have some from my Aunt Susie and some from Crazy for Retro. So I appreciate them and I use them constantly. So I'm going to shred it all up. Then I will measure it out in 2-cup increments. And then I'm going to vacuum seal it. And then we're going to start on the freezer. I may wash and break the beans and get them in the canner as well. You don't need to see me do that, but we have to start somewhere. And since I'm going to be adding to the freezer, and it might also be the easiest job, I thought I would start there. Today is egg pickup day for me, and y'all, it's not that my girls are slowing down. I'm still getting eggs from the barred rocks. As you know, I lost a hen, baby Winona, which now is Nona and knows her name. So sweet. She's not quite ready to lay yet. It's probably going to be another maybe 2.5 to 3 weeks more before she'll be ready to lay. I think she's about 13 weeks. And then Miss Violet is broody, so she's been broody 2 weeks today, so she's got another week of stealing her sister's eggs. Miss Jolene has taken, oh, this is funny. She's figured out now she gets in the little baby coop that's inside the nighttime coop and lays her egg in there so that Violet can't steal it. So it's kind of cute. But I'm hoping with her laying in there, she's teaching Nona, because Winona is a little bit afraid of the big girls because Fancy Ray pecks her, and she may think they all look alike. I don't know how chickens discern one from another, but Jolene is overly friendly and it scares her. So, y'all, it's like a soap opera out in my chicken house right now. You got one that wants a baby, one that doesn't want the baby, and one that's too friendly with the baby. I don't know. But let me get busy here. I'm going to get all of my zucchini shredded. I'll show you how I package that up. And then we're going to start on the freezer. Oh, y'all. I don't know if you can see it without it flying away. Oh, I can't hold on. Let's see if I can show you. I'm so dang short I can't reach over the counter. Oh, it flew away. Y'all, cardinals are the Ohio's. Oh, it's out on the sink now. That is a male cardinal. Sometimes I'll look out and I'll have 50 cardinals, male and female, in my backyard. I must have good grub out there. I don't know. I know I have grubs because I got moles. So sorry about the diversion here. So let me get busy. Well, we have shredded zucchini, y'all. I had a couple of small ones in the fridge, and I've got a couple little ones on the vine. That's why I went ahead and shredded everything I had. The big one was pretty seedy on the inside, so I took that to the chickens. We'll see if they eat it, because they were like, I don't know about this. What a mess. So, y'all, I would never bring you, like, through a whole video and at the end say never make this recipe because it's awful, because that would be a waste of your time. But I do like to share not just my successes, but my my failures. So, freeze-dried zucchini, it takes a long time to freeze dry because it's a high percentage of water. You know, it's a very watery vegetable. So you have to commit. I had to commit to about 36 hours for my batch. So I want to show you this because it's important. So these 2 jars of zucchini were done on the same day. One of these is not like the other. Which one is good? Which one is bad? So obviously this is nice and light and dry. So if you overpack your trays, now I'm not sure these were done on the exact same day, but they were done in July of last year. I've used some, but this, guys, as you see how it's all kind of clumped together, that tells me I didn't have all the moisture out, and I thought I did. So this is not edible. Still sealed, so it wasn't a seal failure. And it doesn't smell really very good. So I'm gonna dump this. Would I freeze dry zucchini again? Yeah, I would. And how did I use this? The way I liked using this was in scrambled eggs. And I just whip up some eggs, maybe add a couple tablespoons of milk or water, whatever you like. Then I put the zucchini in it and I let it kind of rehydrate before I actually scrambled them. I love zucchini and eggs. And zucchini is a very low carb vegetable, so that's a good thing if you're diabetic or if you're keto or whatever. I'm not keto. The other way, you can put it in soups and stews. If you have trouble getting veg into your children, this can be a good way to hide it. Zucchini pretty much just takes on the flavor of whatever you put it with, so it can be sweet, it can be savory. I also like zucchini stir-fried with mushrooms and onions. Did I say that right? Mushrooms, onions? Yeah. Y'all, it's early. It's not that early, but it's early enough. So I am going to, this is going to be our first casualty of the pantry clean out, even though I'm going for the freezer. I know I still have some zucchini in the freezer, but let me kind of package some of this up. I will show you a little trick. If you want to vacuum seal it, which is what I'm going to do, so that you don't end up filling up your vacuum sealer with water. It can be a bit of a challenge, let me just say that, because it's so high in water. Okay guys, I'll see you in just a few. All right, I'll ignore the slideshow in the background. This is my Echo Show 15. I can watch YouTube on it. I can go on the internet, like if I'm following a recipe. And it also plays my camera roll. And I have a lot of really sweet pictures of my mom, so that's why you see it a lot in the background. Frankie, Hanky Panky Frankie, I swear my animals are just so unique. Oh, there was zucchini from last year, guys. Oh wait, no, those were loofah. Frankie has learned, because it will go to sleep if you don't use it for a while or touch the screen. He's learned how to turn it on because he's like, I want it to show the pretty pictures, Mom. He's such a mess. All right, guys, so in front of me here, I have a Food Saver vacuum sealer. Little story about it. I had one that I used for several years, and this particular model, and it is linked in the description box, has the ability, and gosh, I haven't done this in so long, I'm not sure I remember how. Okay, yeah, right here, see the little nozzle, see the little hole there? There are vacuum saver lid covers that you put over a mason jar and you can seal them. Well, y'all, mine finally broke. And my cord wouldn't retract any longer. And I happen to be, no. Sorry, guys. I happened to be in the Goodwill one day. And I saw one. And I'm like, can I plug it in and see if it works? And they're like, yeah, we didn't know what it was. And I don't want to exaggerate, y'all. I'm sure I did not pay more than $10 for it. I think it was less than that, but let's just say it was $10. Mint condition, obviously had never been used. I still had my bags, which when you open it up, it has a place for your bags, a bag cutter, so you can cut it to length. It has all of the instructions. I really like my Food Saver vacuum. I don't like this vacuum sealing attachment for jars. It's just not state of the art like some of the newer ones. I have one now that's cordless. You just pop it on, push the button, and it vacuum seals. Okay, so I've turned it on here, and it has the option of dry or moist under the food button. So I'm going to turn it to moist, because what happens, y'all, is down in here, back up a little bit, is a tray. It does not hold very much water. Let me see if I know I can pull it out. So this is the tray, and it just has little clips on the end. If that gets full to overflowing, you kind of run the risk of, first of all, you won't get a seal, but I don't want to suck any water into the machine. So what I've done here, and not a very good job of it, is I've portioned out some different size bags. I have some 4-cup size in the bigger bag and some 2-cup size. And as we are going through this exercise of cleaning everything out, the one thing I realized is I need bags. I am almost out, and I have more of the big bags, but sometimes I want the little bag, right? So let's shut the drawer. So you simply line it up. Now, before I do that, I'm gonna smash it out just a wee bit. It's always easier to store things that are flat versus storing things that are round in your deep freeze. But what I'm going to be watching, and I'll try to bring you close, and let me see if I can zoom in on this. You'll be able to see the water start to creep up in the bag. It's okay to get a little bit in, but I may go ahead and stop it. You can hit seal at any time, because it's going to vacuum, then it's going to seal, or hit cancel if I think there's a problem, and then just seal it. So let's see how, this is 4 cups of zucchini, and it will automatically pull it in. Okay, I don't know if you can see all of the water foaming up in there. There is a lot. Okay, so now the tray full light is on, so it isn't going to seal because it's too wet. and I'm glad to show you these issues as we go along. One thing that would help is a bigger bag, but as you can see, this is totally full. And so we're gonna like slop it down the counter. Y'all, I hope you're laughing with me. I cleaned my entire kitchen, vacuumed and everything before I started, but I did not mop the floor because I'm like, well, I know what it's gonna look like. So, why is it still saying tray full? It's not full. Not now. Okay. Let me make sure I'm not missing something. No, there doesn't seem to be any liquid below it, but let's dry it out a little better. Maybe it's perceiving moisture. You know, there is still a little bit in there. Okay, so you may have to fiddle with it. And I guess what I'm going to do is unplug and replug it and see if that doesn't solve the problem. No. Well, let's see if it'll still seal. I don't think it will. Well, dadgummit. All right, guys, troubleshoot. All right, y'all. This may be a video that shows you what not to do instead of what to do. Never had this happen before, but when all else fails, go to Google University, and the recommendation is, y'all seal it with a hairdryer, or seal it. Oh dear, what is that? Dry it with a hairdryer. Totally fine now. So I am just, because I know this is so wet, what I'm going to actually do is just seal it. I'm not going to vacuum the air completely out. The reason I like to do that is it's less prone to freezer burn, but I also don't want to shut down my machine. And this bag actually, y'all, so I just press the seal button. This is what we have. I've got it labeled, and I did 4 cups in all, but I think one of them, since I'm low on small bags. And the reason for that is I usually make two loaves of bread. One for giving, one for keeping. So I'm gonna smash that out flat. Let me get the last 4 of these done. Not sure what that dinging noise was. Probably should go investigate. Oh, yeah. You know, there's a couple ways you can look at this. You can be like, ugh, I can't believe I have all this work to do, and I can't believe I'm having all these problems. I've had to adjust my way of thinking after retirement, because before retirement, I was always in a hurry, so time was so precious. And now I'm learning to slow down, to enjoy it, to think about the work that my hands did to grow the zucchini, to water it, to fertilize it, to harvest it, to process it, and now to preserve it. And how many mouths I can feed with that, not only nourish my own body, but be a blessing to others. And that has totally changed my overwhelm on garden. Now, do I sometimes get tired before I get it done? Sure I do. Do I always think I'm gonna do a fall garden and I never do because I'm burned out? I do. So that's the reality of it. But mentally, I am in a much better space. Okay, we're gonna be here all day if I don't get to vacuum sealing. So I'm gonna get these done, and I'll show you what they look like when we're all finished. Thing, y'all. This was the end of the bowl. So I had a lot of zucchini stuck here, and it won't seal well if there's pieces of food caught in between or it's excessively moist. So just a tip for you. All right, so we have 4, 8, 12, is that right? 4, 8, 12, 14 cups of zucchini, nice and flat, ready for the freezer. Couple other tidbits for you if you're new to using a food saver, you're considering one. Even on the inside of the lid, it will caution you that you need at least 20 seconds between bags. So if you're assembly line sealing things, you may have to let the machine cool down a little bit. We learned the hairdryer trick. Y'all, I dried and dried and dried, but the hairdryer instantly fixed it. So I'm gonna pause a minute here because it's almost time for egg pickup. I I think I've got time to clean out one bin in the freezer. So I'm gonna show you the freezer of shame, y'all. The other thing I wanted to say really quick. Y'all, I appreciate you saying don't let the trolls get to me, and I really try not to, y'all. Most of what they say is just straight up nonsense, you know? And if there's truth in it, like you're chubby or you're missing a tooth, you think I don't know that? I live in this body. Had a little string of this, and I'm not even sure what I did that made people puzzled about it, but I had a few people say, you're dyslexic because you don't know your right hand from your left hand. Well, so what if I was dyslexic? I'm not. I happen to be ambidextrous, and you will notice sometimes I do things right-handed and sometimes I do things left-handed. And it was a problem a few years ago. I used to have a black chalkboard wall instead of the blue, and I used to draw murals, seasonal murals, and I had gotten harassed so heavily before I learned to just block and don't try to reason with those people about, you know, being dyslexic or not knowing my right from my left, that I actually did a whole Halloween mural, half left-handed, half right-handed. It's a really good video. I'll try to link it at the end because it turned out really nice. Do I miss my chalkboard? Sometimes, but yeah, I would feel guilty if I didn't change it up enough. So now I have my blue wall with all of my mid-century things on it. I much prefer it. So if you're new to my channel and you're wondering, is she right-handed or left-handed? The answer is yes. All right, guys, I will see you soon. All right, y'all, let's take a look inside my freezer. I don't know why it looks like 7, but it's actually 0 degrees. I really do like this. Is a GE upright. It has an alarm. You can also lock it if you're worried about, you know, multiple people being in the freezer and maybe a youngster leaving it open. But let's go ahead and open it up. Oh, Lordy, y'all. You think I've got a little bit too much that needs to be gone through? I definitely do. So I'm gonna start out with pulling the veggie, going through it, reorganizing it, and making room for our zucchini that we just vacuum sealed. All right, y'all, I hope that this can be a no judgment video, but I have a feeling it won't be. So, y'all, I have a lot of things that are not edible in my freezer. Not so much meat, but the veggies. So in going through, if you see something that looks like this, I'm gonna just open it and smell it. Yeah, totally freezer burn smell. This was some green peppers, and they are from last year. But you might notice, I was lazy. I didn't vacuum seal them. I find that the freezer bags do not keep things nearly so fresh and free of frost as the vacuum seal. So here's some of our broccoli that I just did in June from the garden. Of course, our zucchinis. Y'all, this had slid down flat, so I didn't even see it. This is zucchini that is now 2 years old, that is freezer burned. It looks like I didn't use all of this. This is also freezer burnt. And then I have some tomatoes that were vacuum sealed, but honest, y'all, these, the best I can tell, have been in there. Well, it's hard to read, but I think they've been in there since 2021. So just a good point, you know, I might have just done a cursory look and said, oh, well, all the veg is organized. Yeah, it's not good. The sauerkraut I froze in its original bag, and I'm like, wonder how old it is. Well, not that once you freeze it, it changes your best by date, but the best by date was 2020. It was actually August 2020. So that tells me I've had it probably over 4 years, because the best by date's usually like a year or so out. And as much as I hate to waste food, y'all, this is the reality of what happens when I'm not a good steward of my food. The other thing that I'm finding, and I'm not going to pull them all out, Okay, this is some pie pumpkin, but y'all look at the date. It's from 2020. I am not going to eat a pureed pumpkin, go through all of the work that it will take to make the pie and all the ingredients when I don't even know if it's good. But you will notice it doesn't have the same degree of freezer burn as, say, something like this. So tomorrow's trash day, so I'm gonna go get a hefty bag. It hurts my heart a little bit, but you know, it's just a reminder to be a little bit better steward of my food. The other thing I noticed, y'all, and I didn't share, is when I went to get the freeze-dried zucchini, I noticed there are a couple other things on the shelf that I haven't consumed that are definitely have moisture in them and are no longer edible. So I'll have to get rid of those as well. There's not a lot. There's just a couple very small amounts. And it was a good reminder to me, maybe I want to change where I'm storing my freeze-dried food. Not so much take it out of the pantry, but have it in a more visible spot, because it's actually on the back side of the shelf. So I have to walk around to the back to look. So I'm not, you know, I don't have eyes on it very often. All right, guys, let me go get a hefty bag and do my walk of shame. There's a few more veg in the freezer that I've just stuck here and there. I'm gonna grab, we'll reload up this bucket, and then we're gonna move on to fruit, which I have a feeling is gonna be a similar circumstance. It's amazing what you find in your freezer, isn't it? Actually, I have two vegetable bins. One is supposed to be for store purchased items, one for homegrown, home preserved. So I did find my pumpkin that I have left from last year. And if you're wondering where I got, and I can try to link them, where I got these bins, they actually came from Walmart and they were on the shelf, but you can order them online. Free shipping, $35 and over. Not affiliated, hit me up, Walmart. The little tags came from Amazon, and I used my Cricut to make fancy schmancy cursive tags. But I really have liked them, and they've served me well. I like to put them in the little holder thing. You can also just use like a marker on it as well. The other thing I found, and this is the beauty of going through your freezer, y'all, I forgot I had all of these jalapenos all prepped and ready to just thaw and make into poppers. They're, you know, de-seeded, clean. So I have those. Of course, my broccoli. And I think I'm gonna leave one zucchini out because I think my egg pickup girl did not grow zucchini this year and would probably like, maybe she wants the 2-cup. You know what, we'll leave them both out and I'll see what she likes. I'm trying to work right up to the time of pickup. I have 5 whole minutes. So let me grab the other bin of vegetables. We'll go through that right quick and then we're gonna move on, y'all. This has turned out to be a bigger project than I thought it might be. All right, stay tuned. Much better shape, y'all, for this bin. The shelf height is different. Pardon me, y'all. Shelf to shelf. So I do have some of these open weave type baskets. This probably came from the Dollar Tree. Could have come from Dollar General. I'm sure they have something similar. And again, these are vegetables that I bought. I can't grow corn. I'm trying to grow popcorn. So I have a lot of corn. I have some peas. I have some Brussels sprouts. Lots of mixed stir-fry spinach and a little bit of taters. So how I think I'm going to approach this and what might be helpful for you is I've started a list of things I need to buy. I think I'm going to start a list of things that I need to make. So I don't need a lot of taters, but I do like my biscuits, gravy, and potatoes. The corn I like keeping for the chickens on really hot days. I freeze it in muffin tins and water. They love it. Peas go in like a chicken and noodle thing. I have lots of soup veg. So I'm going to start making a list over here of meals that I need to be thinking about. I haven't been thinking about frozen store purchased vegetables because my garden is producing, But I also don't want to let these suffer the same fate as some of the 2020 and 2021 stuff we just disposed of. Excuse me for spitting. So yeah, I don't really need to do anything with this, and we are going to be ready to move on to fruit. Oh yeah, on a happy note, I found green peppers from late last summer that I had vacuum sealed that looked perfect. So I put those in the veggies, and now it's time to move on to fruit. And y'all, I can't explain this. So, totally forgot. This is a veg that I froze some corn. I love corn. I am going to this is what I'm going to eat because it was fresh sweet corn. So I'm going to add this to the list as something that goes on the menu upcoming. Y'all don't laugh at me. I also saved corn cobs and froze them. I did this because I thought the girls might enjoy gnawing on a corn cob. So I'm just going to let those thaw. If they don't eat them, they don't eat them. Usually I have bananas, but they don't usually look as bad. They've been in there 2 years, so we're gonna divest ourselves of the 2 bananas. I am going to keep my rhubarb from last year. I have some pineapple chunks that are unopened. I know they're fine. And then some dried fruit and nut mix. Totally forgot I have that. So we'll put that in there. I foolishly tried a Tupperware, and let me just show you what happens. Yeah, that is not going to be edible. That's also bananas, so we'll wash that out. And then the rest of this is 5 jars of strawberry freezer jam. So I like to gift them. When people purchase eggs, I like to give them gift with purchase, and that's going to help me get rid of some of my jams and jellies. So yeah, we're just going to pick one of those up, and that really lightened up how much food I have in the freezer. I will put the corn in with the veg, and as you see here, you just have the little label of fruit. And yeah, we'll get those bananas soaking so I can get them out the Tupperware, and I will definitely need to run the dishwasher. The beauty of labeling. Y'all, sometimes I'm amazed at myself. So the first thing I have here, and it is quite freezer burnt, is if you remember when we made shampoo blocks from soap nuts. I'm here. Oh, hang on, guys. All right, y'all, you ready for the big reveal? I'm so pleased. So we have our fruit, including freezer jam, our veggies, miscellaneous. This could actually be dairy, but when something doesn't fit into a category, so I keep a little bit of extra cow's milk, some heavy whipping cream, some half and half. And this is just some cheese. I found some shredded cheese that I'm thawing and will be eating. The little bit of pork I have, y'all, quite a bit of beef. In fact, quite a few steaks from Butcher Box. A little chicken, quite a bit of seafood, and then in the bottom is my goat's milk that I use for my soap making. Is that not latched? Okay, I'll get that closed. In the door, I have my extra butters. I keep a puff pastry, 2 pre-frozen soups that I had left over, extra yeast, some basil cubes, some cream cheese, some Texas toast, that I probably am not going to eat just from a carbohydrate standpoint and a fat standpoint. It has 16 grams of carbs, but it also has 7 grams of fat. Some cherry juice that's actually been in there 2 years, but I think it's fine. It's filled to the top and sealed. I'm going to keep that for cooking dishes type things. I actually have an empty shelf. I have some more basil and extra virgin olive oil I've made into little cubes, and my emergency coffee. So all in all, y'all, I can really find everything, and I know everything in here is good to consume. So let me go back inside. I'll wrap it up with just a few thoughts about what I've learned and some encouragement for you. I realized that I was going into too much detail and you didn't need to see every category. What I can say happily is I don't keep a ton of meat on hand, so there wasn't so much meat waste as there was veg waste, which is still fine. So here are my words of encouragement to you all. I feel so accomplished. It is such a relief to know that I know what is in my freezer. I know what I have in excess of. So what I did, y'all, this is just a tablet I had. I think it came from the Dollar General. It says you can do anything. I'm making a master, and I'm calling it a grocery list. It's just a purchase list because I need some vacuum bags. But over here, I made a note of things that I have in a large quantity that I really need to use before I do any more purchasing of, like meat and veg and things like that. So I want to make some frozen corn cupcakes for the chickens. And that's what I bought that bagged corn for, so they need their treat. They haven't had it yet this summer. I need to make some vegetable soup, which will use up quite a bit of my prepackaged veg, just to keep things fresh and turned over. I have corn that I scraped off the cob, so it's sort of like a creamed corn, but it's local sweet corn, delicious. I want to make some special occasion casserole, which is a cornbread with onion and whole corn. Normally you use canned cream corn, but I'm going to use the good sweet corn. I have quite a bit of steak. I have quite a bit of seafood. I have like salmon and some shrimp and some scallops. I need to use that up. It's not been in there that long. I just kind of forgot about it, and I'm not a great meat eater. And the other thing that I had more of than I realized is frozen sweet potatoes and frozen potatoes, both of which are, carb heavy, so I have to do it in moderation. But as I'm thinking about what I'm going to eat, and as I continue to go through, I'm just going to keep making a list of things. Okay, Kym, you're thinking about what you're going to eat this week. Pick one or two things from this list. And y'all, I'm not gonna go to the grocery store for a while. I don't go real often anyway, and you may be wondering why I haven't shared an Azure haul, and I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. Azure's a great company. Azure has great products. I can't say anything negative in that respect. You have to know pricing, but they have prices that you can't beat anywhere else. I was the drop coordinator for a couple years. But y'all, honestly, unloading that heavy truck and being the drop coordinator, the lion's share fell on me, and trying to lift those 50-pound bags of feed, it was too much. The other thing that happened a lot is it made it very difficult for me to schedule dental appointments or to plan to go visit my son, because I didn't know a whole bunch ahead of time when Azure was going to deliver. Will I purchase from Azure again? I definitely will. Grains, I can buy organic chicken feed now locally, so I don't have to worry about the chicken feed. That was my every month purchase. And I also really like their spices. So those are two things I will definitely reorder, but I'm thinking I will probably only order from Azure maybe twice a year, and kind of work through what I have in my stashes. So I want to encourage you, first of all, as you go through this exercise, it doesn't have to be costly, guys. You can take a piece of cardboard and write, fruit, and hook it on the bins. The bins are very inexpensive. I do like the bins. I just think it makes it easier and things don't get shoved to the back. But you got to look in them to know what you have. But don't punish yourself if you, like I, found things that were just no longer edible. They were no longer fresh. That was just a good lesson to me. I can't go back and undo it. What I can do is learn from that experience and make sure that periodically, much more periodically than I've been doing, I kind of take an inventory of my freezer. And the second thing I've learned is when I do go to the grocery or do a stock up, I need to make sure that I put things in the appropriate bin, because I didn't have things in the appropriate bin. I was just like putting it wherever it would fit. And also that I'm putting the oldest things up front. So, you know, if I'm going to buy a package of chicken, the one that's the oldest goes up front, that type of thing. So my next area that I'm going to be working on, pray for me y'all, is my home canned goods. So this morning when I was kind of getting things together, and I haven't even gotten to canning, but I will, I began to realize I had a lot of overstock of canned goods in the front room. And so I have even more than what I thought. I would prefer to not have my home canned goods in my long-term pantry if I can find room for them in here. I just think I will use them more because I gravitate here before I go into the long-term pantry. So next week probably we will be doing the canned goods. I'm going to go through, I'm going to show you what's good, what's not good. I'm also going to go through my freeze-dried items because I know there's a few things on the shelf that are no longer good because either moisture got to it or I didn't get it dry enough to start with. So that's a good exercise in freeze drying to know, do the extra dry time. A lot of people will do an extra 2 to 4 hours just to ensure. I think I have a tendency to overload the trays. That's a problem. So I also want it where I can have eyes on more frequently. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video, y'all. I hope it's been beneficial in some way to you. I will be sharing how I'm going to organize my canned goods. They're sort of organized, sort of. But sometimes when a shelf is empty and I need to put something I've canned on it, even if it's not in the right category, I will put it there anyway. So I'm telling all my dirty secrets, y'all. It's kind of like Monica's closet. Well, that'd be my pantry room. So I will plan to see you all very soon. I have to think a minute. So this will be Saturday's video. So next week, probably what I will do, y'all, if this is agreeable with you, I will probably just film once a week over the next 2 weeks, probably for the Saturday video. You may have a little more time. They may be a little bit longer videos to show my organization and my way of thinking, because I don't want to monopolize the channel. So I may film ahead, but not, you know, actually schedule it until a week from when you're seeing this today. Whew. Talk a lot, Kym. You might notice over here there's a little something something. I'm waiting on one more craft supply to come, so there will be a Halloween craft coming up. It's a combination of fall and Halloween. And y'all, I have been entering all of the things from Fun Hole, which is like a Lego type building set. And so I've gotten some free items, and I've also gotten some discount codes. So y'all, I had to have this to go with my farm stand. So this is super cute. It is the hen house is what it's called. But it has like, you know, farm fresh egg sign and little eggs, and the girl said I needed it. So that will give me something to look forward to, maybe while I'm waiting on the canner. Right now, I have like a monster bowl of beans. Y'all, it's a lot. Yeah, so I need to get busy on my beans. Get those canned up. Doesn't take that long to do. And I will plan on seeing you next week. But until then, please do me a big favor. Go ahead and smash that like button. Y'all double check to make sure if you're subscribed that you're still subscribed, because I'm having reports that people are getting unsubscribed. And leave me a comment below. Is this helpful? Do you have any suggestions or things you think I missed that would add to? I would love to hear your suggestions and feedback. All right, guys, until I see you again, be healthy, be well, be blessed, and take care.